Oh man, this is probably one of the worst PC builds that I've seen since The Verge. Holy crap! How could somebody get this so wrong? Oh, my friends, there's this post that's going around over on the PC Master Race subreddit where this guy tried to get a PC for work. $3,600 was the budget, got it spec'd out, and then the local computer company dropped this guy off. This crap fest of cables that just clutter your eyeballs and make it so that you wonder how could they possibly get it so wrong. This is just honestly so bad. So it's not even just as bad as it looks. It's actually even worse than that once you read the story and you find out more about what's going on in this system. It's absolutely awful. So he continues to say that there's only one stick of RAM, there's 0 case fans, and we won't talk about the cables. I don't even know how to start this email is what he says, which means that he's about to lay the smack down in some corporate jargon, make sure that he's covering all his T's, dotting all his I's, and making sure that he has a record of showing off the sheer incompetence of whatever computer company actually built this. Which, if we look a little bit further into the comments and find out what exactly is going on here, somebody said you should have just sourced the parts yourself and built it yourself instead of dealing with this. And he said, I offered but was told we would just order through our distributor, which he ends up with something like this. Whoever the company is, I think they could learn a thing or two, which is why I'm excited about today's video sponsor, Skillshare. Today's UFD tech video is brought to you by Skillshare, my friends. Skillshare is an online learning community with thousands of inspiring classes for creative and curious people such as myself and such as you guys. You can explore new skills, you can deepen existing passions, and get lost in your own creativity, whether it be optimizing for productivity, creative writing, entrepreneurship, or graphic design. Skillshare likely has a class that can help you grow in whatever personal creative endeavor or career development you want to embark upon. Personally, I've been enjoying this class, which is Simple Productivity: How to Accomplish More with Less by Greg McEwen. I've really had to overhaul everything about how I make YouTube videos since Reece and Catlin left and figure out how to isolate which extra demands on my time are worth it and which ones aren't has been instrumental in me getting our channels to survive. And Skillshare is curated specifically for learning, meaning there's no ads and they're always launching new premium classes so you can stay focused and follow wherever your creativity takes you. No matter what the rest of 2021 brings, you can spend it creating something meaningful with Skillshare's online classes because time is what we make of it. Skillshare offers memberships with meaning, with so much to explore, real projects to create, and the support of fellow creatives such as myself, and Skillshare empowers you to accomplish real growth. So the first 1,000 of my subscribers to click the link in the description will get a 1-month free trial of Skillshare Premium so you can start exploring your creativity today. Again, go to the link in the video description, start tapping into your creativity, find a class that meets you where you are to bring you to the next level. Big thanks again to Skillshare for sponsoring today's UFD tech video. So there's only one RAM stick, which is number one, really bad because you obviously want to run in dual channel, especially if you're spending $3,600. One RAM stick, it's a 4-slot motherboard. All of the cables are absolutely incredibly messed up. If we look at the specs that he said that he got an RTX 3070, an i9-11900K, that's a Z590 motherboard, 32 gigs of RAM, and that this company is in a very small town in a rural area, more than likely was ordered pre-built by them. How is that possible? What? Not only is there only one stick of RAM, which, number one, that's 32 gigs. If you look at it in one way, yes, it's only one stick of RAM, so he's losing out on dual channel. But if you look at it in the other sense, it's future-proofed. He could upgrade to 128 gigs of RAM. So that notwithstanding, it looks like they went about this in the most complicated way. There are no case fans in here at all, according to his report. So the only fan that's in here is this one on the AIO cooler, which is only 120 mils, cooling that 11900K, which, as we all know, Intel's a thermonuclear reactor. So that's clearly not enough for that CPU. And then it looks like, I may be mistaken here, but based on the orientation of that fan, it's ingesting all of that air. That's an intake. So it's pulling the air from the outside on the back through the radiator into the case. And because there's no case fans, the heat's likely just gonna rise and pass out the top, which means that there's absolutely no cooling going on for the GPU whatsoever, or whatever SSD might happen to be in the system, if there even is storage. He didn't specify that he got storage. I wonder if he did, because if you spent $3,600, you got this with no SSD, I'd be even more baffled. But it doesn't just stop there. If you look at the cables, it looks like they took whatever non-modular power supply they had and just stuffed all of the cables out of the power supply basement. They could have hid the cables down here. I don't know what specific case this is, but I'm gonna guess that there was more than enough room to stuff the SATA cables down under, but instead they decided to route them up and through whatever shallow openings right there, and then just tie them right there, and then run everything in front of the graphics card. This is like the most bass-ackwards way that you could ever do cable management. You'd have to intentionally run the cables that badly. Like, this is not how it would naturally go. If you have bad cable management, I could understand running the CPU cable, the motherboard cable, and the GPU cable all through here and up through the front. That's something that I wouldn't necessarily think couldn't be done by, let's say, a first-time PC builder, not a distributor or a pre-builder who actually ships these as a system integrator. But to move all of the cables, every single one, into the open part of the chassis is just mind-boggling. Why would you do that? The AIO is just so bad. Number one, the logo is sideways. If you're just gonna go by how things look correctly, you would have rotated it counterclockwise 90 degrees so that Cooler Master read properly. But instead, they have the cables going down, which I think I've never seen before. And that just means that, number one, it looks like these are at a bad angle. But then number two, I wonder if air bubbles will get like trapped into that CPU block up here and make it so that like it gurgles, which already the 120mm AIO is not enough for that 11900K. So I wonder if also it just being inefficiently run could also mean that it's gonna overheat and it's not gonna perform well. There's no airflow in this case, so that GPU is not gonna get a breath of fresh air. This is ingesting all of the air from the back through the radiator, and then it's not adequate cooling. I don't think this system can survive. I mean, it looks like everything's plugged in. It looks like everything works, but this is one of the worst PC builds I've seen. And then I don't even want to know what the thermal paste situation's like. Like, if you screw up the cables and the cooler that badly, did you even apply thermal paste? Did you even take off the plastic sticker from the CPU cooler? Are you actually doing things properly? I'm gonna guess not. Are the screws secured? Is this thing actually mounted properly? My bet's on no. So just for craps and giggles, I decided to find out, okay, let's take his specs, 11900K RTX 3070. What can we actually pay for that? Because he said he paid $3,600 in order to get this done. Where if we just part out a roughly similar system over on Newegg, with me making a few guesses here and there, like just spending a lot of money on a case, $165 on this Corsair 5000D, this is clearly not a high-end case. This is a cheap piece of crap, especially since it doesn't have case fans. Let's go with the $165 case from Corsair. 11900K is going to cost us $550. Again, I assume what storage he has. I just went with the Samsung 981 terabyte. It's probably not that. $110 there. It could be $150. It really doesn't matter. A single stick of 32 gigs DDR4 3600 is going to set us back $235. That 120mm AIO is going to set us back $87. If we want to pick up an MSI RTX 3070 Ti right now, that's going to cost us $1,100. I tried to figure out what power supply we could get. I just went with a 650 watt V650 from Cooler Master. It's 80 plus gold, fully modular. That's clearly not what's going on here. However, I want to discount the fact that it might be actually fully modular and they plugged in all the cables and routed them anyways, because everything else is bad about this system. The motherboard appears to be the Asus TUF Gaming Z590 Plus. That appears to be in line, so that's $216. For this system, including overpaying for that 3070 Ti at $1,100 retail, we're looking at $2,692. For a better system, I'm looking to spend nearly $1,000 less than what this guy paid to get this so shoddily assembled and so poorly done. He's losing performance on the CPU because of cooling. He's losing performance on the CPU because he's only in single channel memory mode. He's losing performance on the GPU because there's no active cooling that's going on there besides the actual GPU itself. This is rough. This is awful. Which, I mean, I could definitely see that this might be made up for internet points. This is so bad. This is so egregious. This is so horrendous that I could see this being somebody who was just like, here, let me build a PC in the laziest way possible, take a picture, post it to Reddit for internet karma. The OP says that it's 100% true and it's not made up for Reddit, which he posted that on Reddit, so take that with whatever grain of salt you want. But if this is real, I don't understand how it happened, because clearly the company understood enough to order roughly the right parts and understood enough to assemble it all like properly together. It looks like everything's where it's supposed to go, besides like the RAM stick being in slot 4 instead of slot 1 or 2, which would make more sense. At least the GPU is not like down in like the last PCI Express slot. I don't know if they put in an NVMe drive or a SATA drive, but this like looks roughly well assembled enough that they have at least a cursory knowledge of building PCs, and they charge $900 for their services for you to be able to get it like this. And it comes out more convoluted than a Kingdom Hearts storyline. I can't believe that somebody could be paid for this service and have this done. Guy, give us updates, get your email done. Let's see what they have to say. Why is it built so poorly? My goodness. I want to hear from you though. You guys, let me know what's your worst PC build story. Was it your first PC build? Was it you helping out a friend? What horrible things have been done to your PCs or PCs that you've seen? Because this so far takes the cake, especially for being a very expensive system so shoddily done. This is like the new gold standard of Verge builds for me. Let me know what your favorite horrible build is down below in the comments. And with that being said, why don't you go check out the last video that we did here where we saw $2 million of ASIC miners get crushed by a steamroller. That was awful. And I'll see you in the next UFD Tech video, my friends. Cheers.